Hey, loves, it's Raquel, and I am here to share with you my heart. I'm not sad. I'm feeling pretty steady and ready to do what I believe I am to do. I have created Miss Vi's Legacy podcast, and I'm sure just from those words you have a hint into what it's about. And so, what I want to do tonight is lay the foundation for you and just share a little bit with you about why I created this podcast. I'm not new to podcasting, and I honestly did not want to come back to podcasting, to social media, but I felt a strong leading to be here and to share my heart with you honestly. And this podcast, Miss Vi's Legacy, is rooted and grounded in the love that I had for my mother, Miss Vi. She was affectionately known as. And her story, I know, is only going to be told because of me. And it's an important story that many of you are going to resonate with if you have a mom, right? If she's still even with us, you'll resonate with your mom if she's passed. I think there's a special something about having a mom that you loved so much and she's no longer with you. So this podcast will be raw. It's not scripted. It's just from my heart. So my journey with my mother began, of course, when I was born to her in New Jersey. And that took us, from New Jersey to North Carolina to begin what should have been a healing process. And my mom suffered from mental illness. And I'll tell you more about that story a little bit later, like more in depth about that. Um, I really just found myself bonded with my mom. And my mom's story and it shaped my life. And I want you to know that as I'm here, again, I'm not new to podcasting, but I really need you to understand that I didn't want to do the podcast. I didn't want to do the podcast. I feel led to do the podcast because I truly have lived my life on understanding that our lives are not our own. Well, let me speak for me. My life is not my own. And I know that this is going to touch many people as I share our story. This story, again, begins in New Jersey. And for a long time, well, let me go back. My mom somehow decides to teach me how to wash clothes, iron, cook for myself, simple meals. All by the time I was 7, I knew how to do all of those things and more. I knew how to let myself in the house. I wore the key around my neck, so I was called a latchkey kid. I knew how to pay bills. So this was about between the age of 7 to 11. I knew how to do all those things. And she strategically taught me almost as if she knew what was coming down the pipe. I do believe my mom had spiritual gifting that was not developed because of mental illness. And I believe that somehow she knew. But even more so, God knew. And so all of these tasks that she's teaching me how to do are preparing me for what was to come. And what was to come was simply, not simply, I would have to take care of her until February of last year. So this podcast came about because as I lent myself to the grieving process on the anniversary of her death, I took a special time out. And for me and my healing journey, that time is with God. I took that time to be with God, asking Him to direct me, lead me, guide me in that day of honoring my mom, remembering my mom in a way that really showed Him that I understood that she's in her reward. She's living in the reward that He promised us. And so the scriptures say that we have a hope. If you're a believer, you have a hope unlike the world. So that's why I spent that day looking at a hope unlike the world. And what I want to make sure you understand is that I am not minimizing in the least the journey of grief. It ebbs and flows, and it has ebbed and flowed for me, even though I'm going to fast track you just a little bit, that I have, because of my mom, I became a mental health and addiction therapist. So let me help you. We are not exempt. We are not exempt. Grief is a human process. It is a spiritual process. It is a process. And you can choose to ignore it, but it is inevitable that you will face it. And trust me, you want to be as much in the driver's seat as possible. Yeah. So I wanted to be here, to create this space that we might come together, support one another in this process. But initially, as I was sitting, this is just 2 weeks ago, as I was sitting with myself and with God, I felt led to create a tribute, an honorarium to someone like myself and my mom. My mom suffered with mental illness, and I was her caregiver. At an early age, 12-ish, I became her caregiver until last year. And I want to use our story to share and to celebrate caregivers and those that they care for. I want to celebrate that. I want to celebrate the sacrifice, the selflessness that it takes to be someone's caregiver and to still have your own life. And many times it doesn't feel like you have your own life. Many times it doesn't feel like you have your own life. But hopefully I'll be able to share along the way how I was able to do that. And I want to encourage those of you who are caring for someone to take care of yourself, that your mental health and your wellness is so important to their longevity, but also to yours. You see, other people can come in and tell you, well, you shouldn't have to do that. But as in my case, and I'll talk about this more later, I felt assigned. Just think about what I shared with you and how my mom prepared me. To me, it is no coincidence. And although over the years I may have asked, why me? Over the years, he showed me why me. There's a resiliency that we have. And you don't know that you have it until something challenges the status quo or what you think you know about yourself. What you think you know about yourself. It's like that diamond that is in that shell that has to be agitated so that the brilliance the shine, which equates to the value many times, can come out. And so that's what an assigned life is about. Understanding and knowing what your assignment is and who it's to, when that shifts, when that changes. And let me say this, the shift of my mom receiving her reward has many lessons, but let me go ahead and fast track you to the biggest lesson for me is that my purpose did not die with my mom. My purpose did not die with my mom. And that's why a year later, which I think is kind of fast, I'm able to be here because of the stuff that I'm made of. And because I know that it's up to me to make sure that caregivers and those with mental illness and other illnesses, such as the one that my mom died from, are encouraged, loved, and supported. That's it. You know, grief moves us, sometimes in the direction that we don't want to go. But if you would simply lean in to the grief, it kind of loses the resistance, the pressure. When I give myself space to grieve, it releases the pressure. When I honor the process, it releases the pressure. Do you know that there are days where I sit and I look at her picture and I know that if I look at that picture too long, I'm going to be in trouble. Meaning emotionally. It takes a lot out of me, but every day, every time I choose, keyword, to look at her picture, I get stronger and I can look and sometimes not cry, but remember something about her that was so unique about her and I's relationship that blesses me. And so the hard part about feeling led to do this podcast is there are so many things that are so special to just she and I. And so as I commit to this process, because I know something, I know that it's going to bless you, but I also know that it's here to help me continue to heal. And I'm very grateful for those of you who will join me I'm not here asking for anything other than if my story and my mom's story resonates with you, if you begin to heal as a result, get stronger as a result, gain some fortitude as a result, some encouragement, then this will be worth it. And I already know that it is. I'm not here to be your therapist, but I am licensed. I'm just here to share my mom's story and my story. And some days it'll look like me just coming on and like sitting with myself. Just sitting with me while I turn the camera on so that you can get what you need to get, and I for sure enough get what I need to get. That's it. You'll see her picture. You'll see your loved one's picture, and you'll get stronger too. You really will. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for caring. Listen, we have to take care of one another. Yeah. This world is really screaming for that. Showing love. Being able to carry your brother and your sister. Being able to say, I am my brother and my sister's keeper. This world is screaming for that. Yes, it is. But I am so thankful that I am here doing my part. Don't just assume that somebody else is going to do it. Do your part. I'm here praying that this blesses you. And that you gain what you need from being here and spending your time with me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right. That's it for this first episode of Miss Vi's Legacy. We'll get more into my story, my mom's story, on the next episode. This was just getting my chops wet. And we're going to also talk about, when God wants you to do something that you feel trepidation about, but how much more you're blessed when you put yourself out there. So this is my first video. I'm out there. You're with me. Thank you. And as my dad would say, much love.